A warm welcome to all the guest speakers and audiences for today. I'll take this opportunity to introduce our guest speaker for today, Biril Parmar. He is Director, Founder, and CEO at ComExpo Cybersecurity Foundation and ComExpo Cybersecurity. Viral Parmar is a serial entrepreneur who runs ComExpo Cybersecurity Foundation, a non-profit organization in India. He's a developer advocate, productivity hacker, open source strategist, technology evangelist, community liaison, international tech speaker. He is a cybersecurity researcher by profession and open source enthusiast working in the field of information security for last 6 years with expertise in cybercrime investigation, cyber law, public key infrastructure, social engineering, web app penetration testing, digital forensics, data protection, intellectual property rights, and privacy policies. He found several vulnerabilities in 250 plus well-known websites like Intel, Your Story, Colors TV, Encyclopedia, Times of India, Airtel, Mozilla, and solved more than 500 cases of cybercrime. He is famous for his research cyber disorder and who is spying on you. He started world's biggest privacy awareness campaign named Logout to aware people about privacy and security and till now has given 700 plus seminars and workshops in 100 plus organizations. I would request our guest speaker, Viral, to please come on stage.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it, please. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Great. So, thank you. First of all, thank you all the team members of Rainbow Secure and all the people who supported me and helped me to connect you guys as well, Basaka and all. So, thank you. First of all, thank you, founders of this Rainbow Secure organization, for organizing such great event and for a month actually and getting a lot of speakers and talking about security. That's a good thing. So, yeah, thank you. And my today's topic is fintech in cybersecurity challenges, cybersecurity challenges in fintech domain. So it's an kind of an in last 3 to 4 years it's become a boom and it's become a new buzzword as in as we saw that selfie word was came like around 5 6 years ago as a new buzzword. So similarly fintech become a new buzzword in the domain of technologies. So banking, we had banking technologies and banking scenarios and banking processes and everything, and banking systems and everything. But now in last 1 or 2 years the whole domain has been changed, and as per the adoption of using and usability of the user while using mobile phones. So the whole new domain has been developed, and a lot of new companies has been created. A lot of different kind of products to consumer for the consumers in the domain of financial technologies. So my today's topic is focusing on what kind of cybersecurity challenges this fintech companies might see or face or actually have seen in last previous 1 or 2 years. And specifically if we talk about COVID, so in during the lockdown period, during the COVID period, so I think a lot of companies actually had a lot of like good amount of losses as in financial losses, as well as in a lot of individuals also had a lot of financial losses. They actually got robbed, they got duped, they got like a lot of money transferred from their account to someone else's account. Fraudsters and other things, fraudsters were actually contacting them and getting a lot of information from them, getting money from them, where via different kind of an application, specifically fintech application, because their motive was to gain some financial, have some financial gains, right? So my topic is today on that only, and specifically we'll talk about basics of that, how or what other things can happen and how other things can it is important to for as in fintech organization or individual who is working in the fintech should consider. uh, this is me, as ma'am gave me my introduction. So I'm Vinil Parmar. I'm founder and CEO of Comex Society Foundation. I'm a cybersecurity researcher by profession. Also work with Mozilla Foundation. So Mozilla, I hope you all know what Mozilla is, right? What Mozilla Foundation is. Like maybe you use the browser, Firefox browser, right? So I officially represent Mozilla and global level and various projects and various programs they have. and I would also work with them as a developer advocate and a lot of other organizations as well. I have delivered more than 700 plus sessions across the world as of now, and various conferences and various countries and all. I have worked with a lot of law enforcement agencies as well as individual as well to work on a lot of cybercrime cases. So we have me and my team, and we have solved a lot of cybercrime cases, like around 500 plus cases, which related to cybercrime specifically and punished for mainly. And we have a lot of initiatives in our foundation, which is focusing on cybersecurity challenges and cybercrime awareness and stuff. So we have started one project called Logout, and in that we have reached out to more than 10 lakh people and aware them about basic privacy, security, and cybercrime and things. And I always, my motto is, and I always say this thing, and whenever I am starting my presentation and whenever I am talking about some security things, so I always say this thing, that you should know hacking, but you should not do hacking because hacking is illegal, right? So that's why my motto is, and that's what I share. So starting with starting with the basic thing only to understand, to help you to understand what is the domain of cybersecurity, and then we'll go ahead with fintech domains. So I hope this is a very basic thing that everyone learns. This thing even in colleges, in engineering or any other MCA, BCA, education, computer science education or degree that they actually pursue. So this is a basic thing. This actually combines whole domain of cybersecurity, I would say, or information security specifically. So CIA triangle, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability. So, what is confidentiality? That let's say I am sharing some information with some other person, like one A person A to person B, and the information that is shared from person A to person B, it has to be opened by and access to for both of them only. No one else can actually access that files and information. So we can say it's confidential data. Maybe you saw this thing in a lot of government files or secret files, or a lot of movie as well. That this file is confidential kind of thing. Then integrity. So data that is shared from person A to person B, it has to be the original and non-touchable data. Like the data that is shared from person A, it has to be that same data only when it is used to person B. So there is no changes. There has to be no changes. Otherwise, the integrity has been lost of the data or any information. Now, third point is availability. So availability is like the data has to be available to that concerned person. If the person has to get the data, he or she should have, right? So this actually works in the domain of fintech as well. So as I am an individual, let's say I'm using such application, and information that is going through the whole application to the my application, or my application that is in my phone, to the web servers and to the or company or the banks or any other third party payment gateways or whatever the technologies or APIs that they are using. So in between them, this three major point has to be there, or else obviously this organization or this particular product has been compromised, or we don't have insecurity. And security is a major perspective, major thing in the domain of fintech. After that, this is the most important thing that what I can think of in the domain of fintech, that is authentication and authorization. We'll talk about in depth later on, but to give you an we can say overview or a summary of what is authentication, what is authorization. That is, if we talk about authentication, so any person who is trying to access any data, he or she has to show that who the, like, is he he or she is that person is to access the data. So that is, it says that who you are, that you have to showcase yourself, that who you are, and you have to prove that by, let's say, showing your or sending your, giving your username or password, and it has to be correct. And if that is correct, it means yes, you authenticate yourself, that yes, you are that the same person who have this account, who own this account, right? Then authorization. So what you can do, authorization is like what kind of things that you can do in that application, particular application, and what kind of access you have, right? So depends. Let's say if there is some organization and they have multiple we can say employees in that company, right? So every employee have, it might have different kind of access. Let's say from a clerk level to peon level to clerk level to the manager level to CEO, and everyone have a different kind of access. And kind of access means kind of information that they can access, right? So which actually showcase that authorization, right? So these are the most important part, and it's in, we can say, pillar of the fintech products. Now, what kind of challenges this fintech company or organization they might face? So first is complexity and compatibility issues. So a lot of companies these days actually, people used to use a lot of traditional servers and all technologies and all. Now they would like to use different kind of servers and applications. There are different kind of APIs. A lot of companies have created a lot of APIs for the products, for the connectivity, sharing information, and other things. So there are a lot of complexity while connecting this two technologies or using these two technologies, or there might be incompatibility issues with the version of softwares and hardwares and other things. Let me give you a good example. Like let's say if we talk about open source, so a lot of organization is accepting open source technologies, and a lot of organizations is working in the domain of like private softwares and all. Right. So if we talk about open source, a lot of companies like Microsoft actually use both the things. They also use open source technologies. They also have private software and all. Now, if we would like to collaborate both of the things, it might be a bit difficult for an that or such kind of organization to actually work both together, both the things together, right? Because there isn't obviously one thing is security issue, well, it's the biggest issue which we talked about recently, it's CIA and authentication authorization. And then people are something new comes up, so people are like would like to use this technology in our products, like let's say blockchain. So everyone is like blockchain is new thing, we should actually use that in our products, right? So they are like, okay, let's work it on blockchain and let's create our product on blockchain. But again, so it's a new thing and a lot of people don't accept it, or a lot of people are not working on that. So that kind of issues actually create complexity and compatibility with the other or older version of the softwares and hardware. Not just that, in whole infrastructures as well. Like whole infrastructures has been actually setting up here, and they set up in like network setup and everything in like local in India, and they have servers in either USA, Russia, somewhere, right? So there is a lot of different kind of complexity and compatibility issue might face there as well. Then these days as because of COVID and lockdowns and other things, so people got remote work, right? So now let's say I have an office in USA, like in New York, but right now because of COVID I came back to India, and I'm working things are from sitting in India, and from sitting in India only I'm working in my office in USA, right? So now this kind of technologies or this kind of usage actually it gives an accessibility, it gives an a good we can say network actually help us out to work remotely wherever we want in the end of the world as well, right? But let's say if we talk about working on some big project, and let's say in this domain of fintech only, so actually creates a lot of chaos while working on the projects, and there are a lot of people who are working in the same project, and they actually never like maybe they never met because a lot of companies have recently hired a lot of people during the time of COVID-19 only, and they don't know what they are working on, and they have some communication gap and things like that. So it also created a lot of compatibility issues while working on the softwares or hardwares and networks and at the endpoint devices and all systems. Then other things are like complex connections often and finding some loopholes in the system and resolving the loopholes in the system. It is also an a biggest issue that I might see as an part of an integrating things up in the product of index. Then migration. So a lot of people talk about, like obviously they were using some older version of software servers and all VPS and other things. Now they are would like to move towards and migrate their services and servers and everything to the cloud services. So a lot of cloud service providers are there, like Amazon and Microsoft and Google and all, right? So they have good amount of cloud servers, and they are providing a lot of good services plus supports plus infrastructures, and they have different kind of particular server enhanced server they have, where you can actually deploy directly your production, right? And a lot of even technologies like serverless technologies has also been evolved, and there people are a lot of using a lot of serverless technologies and all, right? So they don't have to actually run correct upload a code and run it as in kind of, and then like we do in IDE and stuff and then deploy it and all. So it actually directly goes on the server and it runs, right? So that kind of thing has been working on, a lot of people working on. So it actually now people who are migrating from the older version of their servers to the newer version of like newer version like a cloud servers and all. So it might actually create some issues, like let's say they have different kind of payment gateways, or any digital wallets or net banking things, right? So it might happen that this cloud-based platform that they are using right now, they it doesn't support that, right? This kind of issue can face. They have APIs that doesn't work on that. they have a lot of operations like that they actually handle at their server farm and things, but they are actually handling their servers and all. But they have to do it now on cloud servers, and they have to set up the whole new group as in kind of an they have to hire like 5 to 10 people to handle the whole service and DevOps people and all, right? So a lot of other things also being faced to a lot of companies like related to the complexity of data storage and all. So they are like, how we can store data, where we can store that, from where we can get the data, and it's on cloud server. So we have to actually implement the whole new technologies which is compatible to the cloud service, right? So other kind of things also we see. Then vulnerabilities. So obviously the vulnerabilities that we had earlier on the traditional servers are different, and now the vulnerabilities that we can see on the cloud server are different. So people who have already worked on the traditional servers and the vulnerability that they found or they use or they resolve and everything, right? But now they migrated to the cloud server again, so they are open to vulnerabilities, so they are open to hack. So anyone can actually hack their servers very easily if their servers is not appropriately configured, it's not appropriately set up, and not appropriately worked on, right? So this kind of thing happens. Then specifically if we talk about cyber attacks and the cloud servers, so a lot of hackers who actually have targeted only the specific banking systems having cloud servers and all. So they focus on they specifically focus on hacking into the servers which is vulnerable. They have vulnerabilities and they have CVEs and all. They might like obviously a lot of vulnerabilities found by a lot of cybersecurity researchers. They report them to an hidden CVE, and a lot of hackers use that CVE to find the same version of vulnerabilities somewhere, and then they use the same exploit or create some new exploit and then try to hack the whole server. So this kind of thing happens a lot. And as even cloud domain, the whole cloud services and infrastructure is the whole new thing. So there are on regular basis there are new vulnerabilities that are coming up. So it's an evolving domain, right? So for as in we talk about IT infrastructure as well, and it's similarly for cybersecurity infrastructure as well. So as in cybersecurity in the cloud infrastructure. So this kind of thing happens on regular basis. This kind of things, people become and victim of this. Besides that, common vulnerabilities in their application. So fintech, obviously, the end point they have their application either it's an web app or mobile app, right? So where they actually at the end user they are actually sharing a lot of information or getting a lot of information, right? And their applications are mostly vulnerable. So according to the one research, 98% of fintech startups are vulnerable to web and mobile application attacks. So almost we can say almost all the fintech companies, right? They are vulnerable to the common web application vulnerability. So we have seen that most of the vulnerability which is there on, let's say, for the in the company, let's say Google, right? So most of the vulnerability that they might have is not mostly in the network side, not on most maybe not in the server side, or server side or cloud side, but it will be at the end of application. So applications are mostly vulnerable, and which are the common vulnerabilities that we can see, like injection. So any kind of injection, like either it's an LDAP injection, SQL injection, access injection, whatever type of injection it is. Then broken authentication. So as we discussed about authentication, so which is an actually biggest issue right now for all the fintech companies who are actually working on providing in good infrastructure and good security protocols for security processes for the fintech as for the users and users, right? So broker authentication is the biggest vulnerabilities, common vulnerabilities that you like security researcher can find in any fintech. Then broken access control, so which is very normal. We found a lot of vulnerabilities of broken access control where they might have given an access to some and XYZ users when because of some vulnerability actually I can get an admin access control. Right. So there are different kind of broken access controls vulnerabilities are there that we might find on a regular basis. Security misconfiguration, which is very common, that a lot of people who are startup, right? So startups company actually have a lot of issues, like let's say financial issues, and they cannot hire more people. They have to be limited with resources and not resource person as well, and other things, right? So they might have a person who is not good enough or don't have good enough knowledge to actually set up all this thing. If we talk about security perspective, So, see, I would like to clear this thing. A lot of people have this thing in their mind, though. So, let's say developers. So, developer have like I'm not like discouraging or telling that developers are wrong or they don't know such things like security and all. But I would say that like I have seen that 80% of developers don't know the security perspective while creating, and they don't even focus on security perspective while creating an application. And people think that there are testers, software testers, so they will test your application and your application will be secure. So actually this software testers usually work on your Q&A, right? So the quality assurance and software testing and other things. So performance testing is not, functional testing is not. But again, so cyber security and security perspective, security testing is not done, right? That's why people or company or organization should actually hire security testers, security researchers, pen testers to do pen testing, and then later on resolve the issues, all the bugs and what they have found it, whatever is that they have found it, they should resolve this. Besides that, other vulnerabilities like sensitivity exposure, which is very common, that because of certain misconfiguration, because of certain application misconfiguration, or like setting up compatibility of the APIs and all, there must be some kind of sensitive data which is exposed to all the other user end users or normal users, and the data has to be there for the higher user as in like admin users and all, but it is accessible for the normal users as well as in general or end user. Then another which is most common vulnerability, which is social engineering. So it is not kind of a technical, I would say technical vulnerability, but actually it is kind of. Let me give a good example of it. Maybe you saw recently around 250 plus 300 plus Twitter accounts got hacked, and well-known person's account actually got hacked, from Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos to Obama to a lot of other people and celebrities as well. So this happened because of one social engineering. That's it. So you can understand the scale of the social engineering attack. So it doesn't actually bear anyone. So from, if it about small companies to big companies like Max or Twitter or Google, so everyone can become a victim of the social engineering attack, which is very common these days. Then identity management. As we talk about few things related to authentication and authorization, you might thought what is like a kind of in thought with what is identity management. So identity management is a whole different thing. It consider and it have this authentication or the authorization thing, but the management of the identity of an as an individual or the users, right? Which actually the whole domain is a part of in cybersecurity now, as in the subdomain of, I would say, subdomain of cybersecurity, which is identity management. So identity and access management, the whole domain is focusing on how individual or how the users, let's say in either in a network or in a like as a end users or as an we can say end users, or either it's an in the network or as an employee in any company in any organization, right? So they are actually accessing their accounts, accessing their personal account or official accounts, where using various methods, right? So if you talk about specifically like banking, financial sector, and financial institution sectors, so mostly we identify as an end user or as individual users, we identify ourselves by like let's say using password as obviously that is there. Besides that, then we use the OTP. Maybe you use it many times, right? One time password and all, right? Where you have to use OTP to actually verify that you are the only user and you are only doing this payment. And the OTP, you get that OTP in your mobile phone, and then you have to put it in the website, and you actually enter it and the payment happens, right? That kind of thing. Then biometrics and other different multi-factor authentication passwords are there, right? So all these are actually in part of identity and access management, where what kind of access that you should get, what kind of authentication and authorization you should get in the network or in the product or in the servers that actually maintains everything. So this is in part of an identity. This all this thing is actually part of an identity and access management. Then there are a few drawbacks mostly. If we talk about anti-experiment, there are a few drawbacks that people should consider, think upon. That is, let's say, fake accounts or anti-theft, which is the biggest issue right now, which is, I would say, the in top five cybercrime issues that we can see. Anti-theft is in, like in top five, where people actually, it happens mostly in USA, Europe, and also it started in India as well. Like I have seen a lot of cases where people create a fake account of a person and on Facebook account, social media accounts of any random person, and then ask their friends, and then actually they add all the friends of them into their fake account, and then ask their friends that I lost some money, I want some money, it's an emergency, it's a COVID thing and all. Please, can you send me some money and kind of thing, right? So this kind of thing has also been happening on regular basis. So it's very common in USA. I've seen a lot of cases in US as well where someone actually takes up someone's social security number and using it and for different purposes. And when even we have saw that a lot of number of people actually have car number, like the taxi passing and all of someone else number, and then when they got caught, and the original person who have this number, the owner of that number, of the car number, so when they got caught sometime, then they when the police actually show the notice that this kind of already the signals or traffic lights that you broken, so you have to pay some sum of money, and actually you never did that, right? So this kind of happens happen very often. And also, if you look at fintech domain, where specifically the what are the consequences? So siphoning of money. So someone actually take money from your account and take into their account or someone else's account, and then later on actually make a large amount of money, and they actually siphon this money in different various methods. Either they invest in blockchain, like it's in cryptocurrency or somewhere else, and then make more money out of that. And it might be happen. It might happen that it might be they are using for different illegal stuff. Now, these are few traditional authentication methods that we used to see before, like as a universal authentication method, two-factor authentication method, multi-factor authentication method, hardware authentication. Like there are different kind of authentication methods that we use in the domain of fintech. Right? Specifically, I'm talking about fintech. There are a lot of companies using a lot of different kind of authentication method to actually verify the users. Right? So now the technology has been evolving on regular basis. So you can see multiple different kind of authentication methods on regular basis. Even this is there's technology called passwordless authentication. There's you don't have to actually insert a password or verify as in your or use your username password and thing, but you can verify yourself by without using any password. So and it is in password, it is not. That's why we call it as in passwordless authentication. Then privacy of data. So privacy of the end users, like let's say I'm a user of xyz.com, xyz company's product, right? So I should be actually have this thing in mind always, that what are the details that I am sharing with my this company, right? Let's say I'm using xyz product company's product, right? So I should be now think about, right? Let's say if I am sharing my personal details, and a lot of companies are asking for KYC and all, they asking for data and all, and you should actually share a photo of you or video of you to verify that you are the only person, and take a photo with your Aadhaar card or PAN card or something. So then this kind of information that they have in their what if this server got hacked? What if the data has been leaked? What if this information can be misused by their own, like people who are working in there, like insider threats? So this kind of thing happens. So these are the major things that company think on, and the privacy of the data of the users, it has been first top priority, or else there are a lot of consequences for organization as well versus that. Like they have to pay like millions of dollar fines. Like maybe you heard about Facebook on regular basis. I've seen this thing that on regular basis every year, like Facebook had to pay around like $500 million fine every year because somehow their data got leaked, somehow their data got like someone hacked it or someone using for misusing for some other purposes. And because Facebook owns the data, Facebook actually have responsibility to that data, and they are liable to storing your data and securing your data. So if they cannot do that, so obviously it's consequences for them, and they have to pay fine, and so or other legal action can be taken on them. So which is the biggest issue for any fintech company to securing your data. If they cannot do it, there are a lot of consequences that they might face legally. Then involvement of third parties. So a lot of third parties, see, a lot of fintech companies these days use they actually create application, and then what they do is they actually get a lot of APIs from different companies and third parties and all, then connect to their application, and their application is ready. So it's very easy for them to create such application and very fast enough, and also deploying and handling and monitoring everything very easy for them. So they actually use these things. So now, but if you are doing such things, so the biggest issue that you might see or you might face is third parties applications or APIs vulnerabilities. So there are a lot of vulnerabilities in APIs as well. And let's say if that servers of the third party server of third party company or API which they company third party company created, they have some vulnerability. So obviously your application also has that vulnerability, and they can hackers can exploit that as well, and your vulnerability your server or application can be hacked. Right. So this kind of things has been seen various times in various places as well. A lot of companies and MNC companies, like I would say Fortune 500 companies, faces this kind of issues on regular basis. So this is the biggest issue that what I feel and what I can see if we talk about involving or using some third party application or third party products or third party APIs. Right. So then besides that, interconnectivity or connecting or compatibility of that particular APIs with your application is also a big issues. Then besides that, let's say if you are let's say I am an XYZ person, right, and I have created one account in abcd.com website in products, and then later on I have created what I you can say replicated my account, same kind of account I created, and it's a kind of fake account. Then because of this third party issue, that I can actually exploit that vulnerability. Let's say there is an IDOT, right, or some other kind of vulnerability, right? So I can actually exploit that vulnerability and actually use or take money out of that person's account and transfer it my account or some other's account, right? And a lot of other issues can be also seen. Then malware attacks. So it has been seen that a lot of fintech or banking financial sectors has been got attacked by malwares and various kind of malwares, and specifically malwares which is focusing on working on gathering a lot of information from the fintech organization, banking financial organizations. So there is a common system for the worldwide for the internet banking financial telecommunication system, that is SWIFT. So society for so this organization actually focusing on connecting the whole all the network, interconnect all the banking networks and across the world. And there has been seen that this network has been compromised various times because of some vulnerabilities or because of some malwares actually got exploited. Malware exploited this vulnerability which is there in this SWIFT system or their banking system. So maybe you heard this thing. So then if you talk about malware attacks and specifically for in banking financial sectors, so Brazil is an hub of banking financial, malwares of banking financial sectors. So there has been seen a lot of malwares which is actually targeting and hacking into this fintech applications only or banking applications only, and gathering this information and then siphon all the money from the users' accounts to their accounts and some other places. Then also not just that, so they also introduce this malwares in your phone as well, in your laptop as well, in softwares and which you're using or installing from like random websites. So actually it is besides that, and which is combined with the original file, and they actually infect your systems and all. So you should focus and think about whenever you are like installing or downloading any software. So you should not download or visit actually untrusted website, or not even click on pop-ups as well. So I have seen a lot of people actually, they see a lot of pop-ups in their website and it's an offer or sale or something, and they click on that and they don't know like what happened. But later on, then you can see like their system and their full browser is filled up with a lot of ads, right? So this is kind of a malware. We call it as an adware. So this kind of thing happens a lot on regular basis. So that is there. Then let's say their cyber security like their infrastructure as an IT infrastructure, so when they have servers and all, and they, it is not set up properly, it has not been updated properly. So it might seem that as I mentioned, so older vulnerabilities there, and website or server is still having the older version of that software. And if I found some new one, like some vulnerability or some loophole in that, and create a CVE, then some hacker can actually use the same CVE, same vulnerability, create some exploit and use that exploit to hack into us. So it can be done, and they can create on basis of the requirement, on the basis of the server systems. They can actually create a good real-time malwares that can actually infect the whole system. And maybe you saw this kind of things recently in last 2 years, like during the lockdown, there were a huge number of cases of ransomware that even I got as an individual, as an organization, that we was like a lot of organization as an individual actually come to us that they share that our system is infected by ransomware. So similarly, a lot of people actually got infected with the ransomware globally, right? So according to some report, it's been saying that, and maybe you heard about one of the ransomware, right? So like around 2 3 years back, so there was a major one a ransomware outbreak. Actually, it was where almost like 30 to 40% of computer in the world was infected by one ransomware. So such kind of thing happens on that basis. So you can become a victim of that as well. Then next point is security compliances. So let's say this fintech companies there, they have all the data, they have all the users, they have take all the precautions and all. But the security compliance and auditing is a major part of this thing. So maybe if you open any of the your fintech application, like let's say is an either Google Pay or there's Phone Pay or like Paytm something, then when you open that application, you might see one or two, three logos beside behind like or below the logo of the company's logo, right? It actually says that either it's PCIDSS or ISO 27001 or something like that, right? So what are that? So they are actually compliances that this organization actually applied in their whole infrastructure, and they actually had an auditing, and they are following this compliance to monitor and to secure the whole infrastructure and whole data of all the end users. And it is ruled by the lot of organization, or sorry, lot of countries actually to follow this compliance and auditing that people have to do it, like this organization has to do. So in Dubai, I think so. Every 6 months, you have to do a security auditing of your company and follow all the compliances, and you have to submit a report and certificate of that you actually had it. Otherwise, if you are something goes wrong, then obviously you are liable and you have to pay a good amount of fine to the government and all the individuals as well who is using your products. So you have to pay a good amount of money, right? So this kind of thing happens. So any banking system, any fintech products, any banking financial systems or insurance sectors, whatever the sector is in the domain of fintech, right, has to get the security auditing done, has to follow all the compliance related to security, and for the end users and data users, depends on what kind of products they are, what kind of things or data kind of what kind of data they are storing and stuff, and where they are storing it, right? So there are a lot of rules and regulations that we have to follow. A lot of governments have laws as well. So like if we talk about India, so there has been working on, like government of India is working on that data protection law. So soon it will be out and it will be implemented. So data protection law will actually focus on kind of company that who is working on handling the data of the users. They should actually follow the compliance and do auditing on regular basis. And if something goes wrong, that obviously come as I mentioned, the company is liable to pay money either or as a fine to the government and as an individual to the end users. So if we talk about compliance and laws and stuff, so various countries have different kind of laws, compliance and auditing standards. So if we talk about like Europe, so Europe have GDPR, PSD2, EIDAS, Euro compliance. Then if you talk about UK, they have FCA, GPG 13, and PCIDS is very common for like, around the world. Even in India, we actually focus and work on PCIDS. Then ISO or IEC 27001, they are the well-known and standard laws, or sorry, standard compliance and audit rules and regulations. Then as I mentioned, so in India, Government of India is working on data protection law and cybersecurity policy. Soon it will be out. I don't know when, but yes, it's been saying like Government of India is saying from this thing from last 2 years. But because of this COVID and stuff, it actually got delayed. But yes, soon it will be there. What are the other risks? So besides this kind of major or well-known risk, so fintech have this biggest issue that what I can see is work in the domain of cryptocurrencies or transferring this money to the cryptocurrency or investing money in the cryptocurrencies, because it is in a lot of countries it is illegal. A lot of countries don't have any regulation. They don't have any legalities about the cryptocurrencies or using or dealing with the cryptocurrencies, and mostly this kind of things actually leads to either illegal money laundering or illegal money siphoning or using it for some illegal purpose, like let's say terrorist funding and other things, right? This kind of thing happens on a regular basis. Then mobile payment systems, like any mobile pay, so we saw a lot of instant pay applications are there where you actually have to just click on the button and payment is done or received, right? So it's very instant. This kind of application actually have a lot of security issues where the person actually never authenticated or they don't know the person, and because of this smart social engineering trick they got frauded, and their money got stolen. Then money theft and laundering is very normal, and which is actually a major risk in the domain of fintech. And but there is no kind of technicalities or technologies behind that. It's just some technique is there. Then spoofing. So spoofing is very common. If we talk about banking sectors, people, a lot of like scammers and fraudsters do such stuff. And social engineering that we discussed, so it's very common to attack people and get information. Now, how to secure, or what are the things that you should consider for securing this whole thing? So starting with, I would say that secure or security, secure SPLC. So if you are creating a product, so you are using this protocol or this process like SPLC. So it's a process that people mostly use to create a product and all. So, but besides that, you should also focus on secure SPLC, which actually help you to secure your product while creating the product. Then security by design, or BMC, or a business model canvas. Starting as most of the people who into startup ecosystem, or creating some product, or running or starting an organization. So the first thing that they usually do is creating an BMC, that is business model canvas, right? So when you're creating a business model canvas, the security has to be there. Security point of view with respect to, and you have to create this BMC with respect to security only. That is a like it's the most important suggestion that what I can give to the startups or people who would like to start up in the domain of fintechs. They should actually focus on that, as I mentioned, security by design. So sorry, design by security, and you have to focus on that as well, and work on the when you are creating design or designing the whole infrastructure of your application stuff. Security has been the most important perspective or most focus point to work on. Then the things that I can look for in the domain of fintech, which is, as I mentioned, so passwords. So if you talk about passwords, so there is, as I mentioned, there is new whole domain is there, like passwordless authentication. So according to some global reports and global research work, so passwordless authentication markets has estimated around 35.48 billion US dollars in 2019. And because of 2020, it was because of COVID-19 stuff, and in 20 and 20 and now 21, I would say that it's more than, like, it's been increased by almost 10 to 50%, sorry, 40 to 50%, by increase has been there in the whatever passwordless authentication, because the major the organization that or individual who lost the money during the COVID-19 was in the domain of fintech, right? As in using the PERT system, right? And it has been seen, or according to the reports of such, I forgot the company, the organization's name, but they did some good research for, and they mentioned this thing, and that according to their report in research work, in by 2030, so the market size of this business, or the authentication business, a passwordless authentication business, is 456.79 billion dollars. So that's an with an annual common annual growth rate of 29.1% from year 2020 to 2030. So it's good amount of growth, and domain is obviously it's embracing. Like, you can use it, and you can get into, and you can create a product and provide services to your end users. And other thing is, besides this, besides the password and all, and securing our applications and stuff, and there are a few things which is beyond password. As as an individual, this is even a lot of companies focusing on authenticating or authorizing the user by their behavior, which is the next new thing. So the whole domain has been evolved. Even, Rainbow Secure is doing great stuff in the domain of creating password securities and stuff. So I think this is the best thing that I have seen as of now. If we talk about password security, so it's in bright future, and we have a bright digital future, I would say. So that's it from my side. So thank you all. Thank you for listening to me. If you guys have any questions, you can drop your question in the chat section. I'll try to answer your questions. And yes,
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bharat. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was a very nice and elaborate, session where you covered from the basics of the security challenges, what goes into in depth, application vulnerabilities, the securing the infrastructure of the fintechs, and also you touch upon, what is the compliance aspect of it. So I think it was very nice and very informative session we had, and this session will also be available on demand for our audience in the YouTube channel, as well as on Rainbow Security platform. Now, here coming to the user side of the security, each business process, each business service has a customers or end users, and I think more essence of here is how we protect when user interacts with the business. Now, there is always a technology involved when we talk about digital transformation. So you rightly pointed out that there are different areas that has to be taken care of. So, but when we implement those, our wish list, sometimes what it happens is that hackers become more smarter in doing it. Like, for example, there's a captcha verification, right? You must have heard that there is something called captcha as a service. So hackers are
Yes.
helping other hackers solve the captcha in real time by helping them solve the captcha. So I think, yeah, there is a need to better to become more smarter, and to take a step beyond what hacker is trying to do, because hackers lives on user interaction. Because you see that phishing or any vishing or smishing attacks, they are all based on making users do something. So with Rainbow Secure, we also try to do something similar where we involve user interaction by putting the users at the forefront. Now they can design or color their password. So, like, that's a very nice way to stop the automated hacker scripts, but have user participation in having a better security control. So I think we should move more towards smartly using the user's interaction. So user would now be on our side, not the hacker side. So earlier user was doing something and helping hacker, but now user will do something and help us. So with any solution, I think we offer to the user, we should always have a better cyber safety training for the users. And I think Nehal can also give us some insight into how people try to trick customers into doing something. So Nehal, you can give some examples.
Yeah, thank you, Viral. This is very interesting, and you can say that very insightful for a business and for student like who wants to learn about fintech and their product. And also, this is very good for founders who wants to secure their business applications. So this is wonderful, and also like. I want to share some story about this. Some of our client is having issue with this kind of problem. Like you just mentioned in your presentation that people trick you. So what happened? They have their account, Amazon account, and they said like, I see you have Amazon account, and that you need to close, and if you want to close, just give us your token. That we send it on your email, and just first they take their email, then they send their email to click and download the software, and they ask, okay, whatever token you see on the screen, just share with us. So yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I think
you
this is
just
a
So
very
as I
common
mentioned, so
mindset.
social engineering is the best thing
Yeah,
that
so
any hacker can come up with, and
you're
they
right.
can actually do it
Yeah.
yeah,
whatever they want.
Sometimes,
So
yeah, they try to
they
trick
are
you
getting more
sometimes.
and more smarter. You say that.
Yeah. When you are in a hurry, especially they know that this is evening time, they even, pick proper time when they want to, trap you. So when you are,
yeah,
uncomfortable, okay, yes, yes, yeah, okay, help me, I'm having problem. That's
yeah,
when they
yeah,
try to help you, but actually they take away your account or they come
correct.
into your system. So it happened to a couple of our, clients where one of the client even had their business email compromised. What happened is that this company had ongoing business relationship with somebody, and the hackers interjected in the email chain and made the business pay the invoice to a different account. So this always a hackers will try to use the user's interaction in one way or other way. And so here, I think more and more need is to collaborate together and provide the platform to the customers where we can say properly validate either through proper invoice approval system or something, and also when we have a refreshers for the end users, there will be more and more participant in the security. If your security is so stressful, right, or if your security team always say no, 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 then it's always gonna come back to the business owners or the team leaders that hey, we are trying to keep the users secure or system secure, but it's not working. Reason not working, you make the rules so hard to follow that people will just try to ignore them. Yeah, he just trying to interrupt me or making me slow in my work.
So
So I think yeah, yeah.
basically, they make some loophole how to save
How
themselves.
to bypass, so much so you encrypt the files. People work remotely. What people do? Oh my God, I have this is log into my VPN. Let me just one time send this file through my personal email, right? So hackers are here waiting for the chance that if today or tomorrow this guy will use his personal email that I have already compromised and to see the business files. So there should be a way where we help our users in not like interrupt the workflow, but provide in proper secure platform that they just use the platform and do all the activities within the platform, so they don't even have to feel the need of bypassing it. So I think that's what we at Rainbow Secure are trying to achieve, and people like you will definitely partner and help us in helping our clients to be stay secure. So you are presenting in very nice way and in the terms that people like you are more and more needed to collaborate and to have, I think, a better security, whether you are talking about a fintech security or a healthcare security. So
And if someone wants to learn from Viral, just contact him from a LinkedIn. In our speaker detail, we are sharing their social media contact, so you can must be reach out to the Viral and go further. And also, if you have any questions, just raise your hand, or you can type in this QA section.
yeah, we are also gonna make this webinar available on demand, so people can view it later. If there's any questions, we will forward it to Viral, and we can definitely work together and help the founders who are developing the apps in the fintech, who are developing any apps in a insurtech or healthcare. We will help you to secure your offering. You just focus on your core innovation or your core business service. Here we are infosec people who will patiently listen to you and help you to reduce your security friction, and importantly help you stay compliant. Because when you stay compliant, people get scared. Oh my God, so much paperwork to do. But if we have to be smarter and help them in a proper way, right? Because traditionally people always get scared away with too much paperwork or too much security rules or
Correct.
policies, right? So we have to actually have not only one time work with the application team when you deploy, but it has to be an ongoing relationship. Security review not only happens when you adopt the system, right? But there should be a feedback loop where applications growing need has to be understood, and that has to be deployed in action.
Okay. Viral, I have one question for you.
Yes.
Like, which platform you are using for testing a application?
So so we do it manual testing, ma'am. So we are not using any particular platform.
Okay, use case driven. Okay, got it.
Use case driven. Okay, so you
Yeah. So we
manually.
actually do functional testing and manually do testing on
Yes.
application, either it's mobile app or software,
So can you give
as
us
in
a
web
like
applications.
example? So I can.
Let's say there is xyz.com website is there. So what I do is, let's start with, let's say, a very common vulnerability, that is XSS. So what we do is we actually check that now is this website is vulnerable to XSS. So what we do is we actually try to insert our scripts, starting with basic scripts, and that is this script is working, or if I insert the script, so is it this website or web server is actually responding me back, and is it this server is actually responding to my script? If it do, so that means this website is somehow vulnerable to accesses. Then we'll find all the endpoints, whether the functionalities that access vulnerable, which is vulnerable to accesses, and then we actually create a report of it, and then we share that this are the endpoints, or these are the functions, or these are the values or parameters actually is vulnerable to this access vulnerability. Then you should actually resolve it.
Right. Yeah. Now,
Exactly.
one question I would like to ask is that what would be your advice to somebody who is stepping into, say, they're looking forward to a career in cyber security? What advice would you give them to get familiar with overall culture of, cyber professional?
So if I talk about cybersecurity as a career, so it's an booming career right now, and everyone requires cybersecurity researchers. Either it's an big fintech company, as a tech company, or it's an either it's a government, or it's a nuclear power plant. Like company who's creating a mobile application to the organization who runs a nuclear power plant, right? So everyone requires cybersecurity researchers, cybersecurity experts, or ethical hackers. I would say that. So this domain has been explored to a lot of things. As anything new comes up, let's say like around few years back, there is this domain new emerged out of the technology, that is IoT, right? So then IoT domain has been new thing for everyone. Then obviously IoT security is a new thing for everyone. So obviously IoT was there, then security of IoT is important. So the whole new thing in the domain of cybersecurity emerged from the IoT domain. Then similarly, people are using these days and talk about a lot of AI and ML, right? So similarly, cybersecurity domain is using a lot of AI and ML. Either it's in vice versa thing. So AI in cybersecurity and cybersecurity in AI. So
Very
this
true.
thing
Very
works
true.
in both the way. So
Yeah.
similarly, the if you wanna like start a career in cybersecurity, I think so. It's a bright future. You can make good money out of it, and actually you can make money more than developers. So that's the
Yes.
biggest thing.
Very
And
true. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and also obviously to get started with, let's say if you want to get started with the domain of cybersecurity, so I would say that start with first of all, read news about cybersecurity. Let's say on regular basis it's been in the news that some cyber attack happens, or cyber crime happens, and this kind of incident happens, this kind of malware comes into the market, this kind of ransomware happen, like in the came into the market and all things, right? So read all the things about the domain in cybersecurity, what happens new. So update yourself. That is an actually a key point. If you want to survive in the domain of cybersecurity, you should update yourself on a regular basis. Right? You should learn this thing on a regular basis. That is there. Then just learning or this understanding this thing, that is there. Besides that, getting some mentorship, or being in the some network of such people. So you should, I would suggest that you should actually join some community, open any open cybersecurity community, and network with people, do networking, understand what they are doing, how they are doing in the industry, how the things are happening in either in industry or academia, and how you can actually work on that. Then learn this thing and understand this kind of things that they are technically doing and stuff, right? That is second point. Then third point is, let's say what they are doing is you are getting connected to them, do networking and stuff. Then research book is the most important thing that what I can think of, that if you want to update yourself, you want to learn this thing, and you would like to create your image, right, as an individual, as an unique. So research book is the most important part in the domain of cybersecurity. So if you have a knowledge, then you can actually showcase your knowledge by working on research work, as well as present the research work as well, like research presentation and all. And also, if you find something new, then publish all the work. Always, I would suggest that if you find something new or working on something new, and you find this is good enough and people should know that, and you should actually publish your work. And if you're thinking that I don't want to share this thing work, my work with someone else, or someone else will learn and stuff, I would say that you are wrong actually, because this kind of thing and this kind of product actually comes in everyone's mind. It's just that they are not doing it, or not implementing it, or not sharing with others, right? If you do it, so you'll get good recognition as well, and good some face value as well. So I would say that share in all the information that you have, and share your knowledge with others, and deliver presentation, deliver sessions wherever you possible. It is either it's a conference, meetup, or event, whatever it is. So that's the three major point I can think of.
Yeah. I think you're very good,
One more
Viral. Yeah. You're
question.
very good. Yes.
I have one more question, though.
Yes, ma'am.
So, if someone wants to join some organization, which organization you will be recommend? And the second question is, if we have some research work, then where we publish it, and yes, where we
Yeah.
publish it.
Yeah. So if you talk about research work, so there are a lot of research publication, like IEEE have a research publication where you can actually provide your research work to them, and they will review it. If they find that this is good enough and it's new enough, and something new has come up and you did some good research work, then they can actually publish your work. Similarly, IEEE is obviously well known organization for creating standards of internet and other network protocols and all. So that's there. Then also some science direct or the journals. There are a lot of well-known journals like Scopa, InScope or something, Scopia journals are there, and a lot of other well-known international journals are there. Science journals are there, so you can
Okay.
publish your work there in journals. And also, if you want to do it locally, so there are various magazines or local journals are also there in various countries. So you can start with that. and you can publish your work with them. And then if you find that, or someone find that this is good enough, then I would suggest that you should actually go for bigger general.
Okay.
I
And
think
community?
yes.
Community, if we talk about communities, so there are well-known and international communities are there, right? So like if we talk about DAFCON is there, OFS is there, even we have our own community called the Hackers Meetup, which is the international cybersecurity community now. So it was initially actually local community in India, but right now we have good amount of chapters across the world right now, and we have around, I would say that around like 5,000 members who are actually on board with us as a member of our community. And on an average, every year we reach out to more than 15,000 people who actually attend our events. So just, and they actually come on regular basis. So a
So
good amount of
in
people
your
actually attend our
sorry
event.
to interrupt you. So
Yeah.
in your community, what kind of work you are doing?
Like the
So
interaction.
yeah. So in our community, the Hackers Meetup, so we do a lot of stuff. So starting with basic webinars. So we have a lot of technical webinars. Our focus is technical cybersecurity. So we actually conduct a lot of webinars as an meetup every month. We have a monthly meetup where we invite 4 to 6 speakers who deliver talk on specific domains. So we have, what we did is we actually saturated the whole domain of cybersecurity, and we spread out in 12 different domains, and then we actually converted into like every month's theme. So every month you're gonna learn something new and something specific in the domain of cybersecurity. So this is how we are doing a lot of event every month. And then besides this webinars, besides the talks and all, so we also have a cybersecurity masterclass sessions, so which is a technical kind of a workshop kind of a thing, that you can actually attend this thing every weekend, every Saturday, Sunday, something, and you can attend these events. Besides that, we also have a lot of initiative in the this thing only, in this community only. Like we have a lot of activities to engage people, like to learn things, and we actually, what our agenda is to empower and encourage cybersecurity research and provide a platform to actually learn this thing, share this thing, and also the bridge the gap between the domain of the academia and the industry. So we actually organize events like CTF, Capture the Flags, then some Instagram live sessions, then some bug bounty events, then some Twitter chat something, and so Twitter chat sessions or something, then a lot of other activities as well. So on regular basis, we also organize a lot of hands-on workshop as well, and a lot of things we do on regular basis. So it's kind of an, if I say our activity calendar, so it's full every month. We at least have 2 to 3 activities. Then we are
Okay.
engaged in that, and a lot of people who are volunteer with us, so they are helping us, and all this thing is it is an actually a volunteer network. So everyone is helping us, volunteering with us or volunteering for us, and also they are obviously learning a lot of things while attending these events and being part of this event as well, and also they are increasing their knowledge and skills in the domain of cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful,
Thank you.
wonderful.
This
Yeah.
is wonderful.
So, yes.
And we maybe join Viral in their community if you want, and you can reach out to him, and he maybe guide you how to join, and also maybe he assist you if you need anything, any other help. Thank you, Viral. Thank
Yeah,
you to
thank you
join
very
us.
much.
Thank you, Viral, for joining today. It
Yeah.
was a wonderful
Yeah,
session.
thank you. Yeah, before going, I just share my contact details if anyone would like to reach out to me.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
give me a
Definitely.
second. Yeah.
Yeah.
In message chat, you can share your contact details.
These are the few initiatives that we talked about, like events that we do, and these are my contact details. So you can reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Uh, Contact numbers are there. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp as well. So I'm available. So if you guys have any questions, doubts, any help required, so do let me know.
Sure.
So thank you. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
bye bye. Thank you.